morning, Dewo. Welcome, welcome. It is my pleasure to welcome you to another episode of Untomato. Untomato Show is sponsored by the African Women Mobilization Commission, OMSI. I'm your host, Dr. Onyo Hosimiri, and I'm the founder and president of OMSI. Just a little bit about OMSI. Our mission is what we call IMPACT. It's the acronym IMPACT, MPACT. M is for mobilizing women for capacity development, philanthropy, helping those underprivileged members of our society, advocacy, cultural, and training. We do so much and we're excited to do it. And I want to ask you to please visit our website, omcglobal.org, to learn more about our organization. Welcome. It's so good to see all of you wherever you are. I hope all is going well for you. Oh, incidentally, Ndomoto is an Igbo Nigerian word that means words of wisdom that I love to share with you so that you can add to your repertoire. I never assume that you don't already have a chunk full of words of wisdom, but it never hurts to learn a little bit more. So that is my role here, to share some. This is not going to be a very lengthy episode today because there's just one specific something that I want us to talk about today, that I want to share with you. And I hope that you will add this to your repertoire because it's so important. And today we're talking about the homeless population, homeless people. And the title of this program is Stop messing with them. Stop being cruel. And many of us don't understand how difficult it is for these people to try to exist each day. And so how we relate to them is really very important because you know what? There, but for the grace of God, there you and I. Human nature, ladies and gentlemen, is such that once we make it, there's a tendency that we think we're out of the woods. I've got mine. And then we have a tendency to start looking down on those who have not made it out of the valley. And we fail to realize that this attitude is a consequence of mental lack. That's right. If you look down on those who have not made it yet, you actually you're living in mental lack. You're living in a mental situation that tells you that you're okay. And that your okayness, if I may use that expression, is permanent. Not always. There are individuals who have been on top of the mountain. They have had to slide right down to the valley because of circumstances. So you just never know. You're always grateful and thankful when all is going well for you, but you just don't know. You just don't know when it may be your turn to have your hand out begging for help. And when you choose to mistreat people who are down on their luck, it's the denial of divine presence. What does that mean? You are not aware that you're being watched by the divine. You think that it's in the church that you're watched by the divine. No, it's everywhere. It's in everything you do. We say, if you do good things come to you. If you do awful things, karma has a way of boomeranging back to you what you dish out. To mistreat others is living in the absence of truth. And the absence of truth is that you don't remember where you've been or where you could end up in. You don't know where you can end up. I indicated that earlier, talked about that earlier. But I cannot overemphasize that. You just never know. Today is somebody else that you see on the street with a pan begging for alms, and you may think you're too busy. I got somewhere to go. And you don't look at them. You don't want to pay attention to them. Sometimes we're even cruel and mean, and we tell them, go get a job, get off the street. For some of them, if they could do better, they wouldn't be there. Some of them are there because situations create the environment that has caused them to be where they are. Some of you may have come from environments where you were sustained and supported by parents who loved and cared for you. And so you don't know what it really means to live in lack, to lack nothing. Sometimes when I watch my grandsons eating, or I remember when my own children now are all grown, are at the table eating, and everything they want is right there. They lack nothing. And then there are some families who don't even have a glass of water. And here comes some of us who think we've made it, we've escaped that, and we look down on them. You know, you forget that there are some people who have been in the valley but have risen to become your employers. Yes, yes, the source of your own income. Some of those people have been in the bottom, but somehow they will manage to rise beyond the situation. And some of them are employing you. History has records of such individuals that have made it to the top and along the way have pulled others up with them. You may not know that, but today I just want to share what I think about people who look down on the downtrodden. You may see individuals who are struggling as obstacles in your path that you must step over to get to where you think you must go. And here's the thing. Sometimes we have it all mapped out where we want to go, and circumstances, situations happen that stop us. And that's just nature. That's just life. Sometimes life happens to the best of us. Or well-intentioned, you're going where you need to go, and all of a sudden, boom, car accident, or something or the other. Even some people are standing where they are and they get struck by lightning. They become handicapped and not able to continue with the life that they so planned out. These things happen. You know, I'm not saying to you today what you don't already know. Most of you know that this is not right, some of what we say. And I'm just saying, you know, you may have run across some of these individuals on your way to somewhere, and you've gone right past them. You don't even look at them. When you see individuals who are struggling and you step over them, just remember, life has a way of teaching us lessons. The important thing is, are you prepared for the life lessons that you may get? Just because you need to learn, just because you haven't allowed the divine to use you. But you forget that God's message follows those who suffer too. Those who are down on their luck, they have divine forgiveness. Also, it provides them with new opportunity, which you may not have. When the time comes, you may not have the divine opportunity to get it right because you've been so cruel. And the way you have conducted yourself may very well impact how nature, how other people will treat you, and indeed how the divine will pay you back, will teach you a lesson how not to treat other people. When you see people in the street begging for $2.05 and you look down on them, know that these people who I look at them and I say, you know, these people have perseverance. I mean, have I not been in that position? Heavens, yes. I was a product of war. I have seen poverty. Poverty you can't even mention. Poverty where there's no food, that you have to resort to eating bugs. You can't get no lower than that. Or that you have to drink water mixed with kerosene because you're so thirsty. There's nothing else. There are no alternatives. I've seen that. Many of you have. And thank God you're no longer in that position. But when you see those who are still trying to persevere, don't look down on them. Don't look down on them. You see, weak people commit suicide because they can't withstand what? The life they're living. The consequences of their actions. Some of them just decide that they're not going to live anymore, and they just pass away. And they take their lives. But there are those people who stick it out. They stick it out. They know that this too shall pass, so to speak. There are some people who understand that. And they don't give up. So when you see them in the street still trying to hang in there, you don't mistreat them. You don't treat them like they don't matter, because that's not something that you would want for yourself. You would not want people to treat you the way that we treat each other, that we treat people who are trying to persevere in spite of their circumstances. These people believe in living. That's why they're still out there. Begging you for food means I still want to live. I still want to have the opportunity to get it right. I still want to walk amongst the living. That is why they beg. They believe that things will change. They harmonize thought with their condition while thriving to exist despite their challenges. These people, they persevere in spite of. How many of you really would survive living in the street in the cold with nothing but a blanket or something? How many of you will go 4 or 5 days with no food, and yet you don't give up? Yet they don't give up. They keep hanging in there. Despite their pain, in spite of their spiritual state of unrest, they are still hoping something better will happen. But here you come, thinking that you're better, living the life of personal aggrandizement, and forgetting that these people that you see in the streets may have lived lives like you. They may have been rich. Something just happened. I know some individuals who lost everything because of a divorce. There are people who have lost everything because of illness, and they have no other way, no place to turn to but the streets. And then here you come. You walk past them. Go get a job. You think everybody's lazy? Lives are destroyed for one reason or the other. The important thing is that you don't have the right to judge. We don't. Whatever brought them there, they are there. They're in the valley. And our role, there is an African proverb that says, please don't leave your brother or sister behind. Even if you can't give them anything, don't treat them badly. They're just living in the meantime, the moment, waiting, patiently waiting for something positive to happen. Oh, thank God for those people who take the time to stop. Those who take the time to give what little they have. Even those who take the time to just sit next to one and just ask them questions. Hey, what is your story? Why are you where you are today? Even if you don't have something to give. I'm not suggesting that once you see a person who is homeless, that you necessarily have to go and sit with them or give them something. If you don't have it. But I tell you what, if you do have something, give it. Give. Because you are blessed. See their humanity. Just seeing their humanity, saying hello, makes you a wonderful human being. There are some homeless persons that say that sometimes people don't even say hello to them. They don't even greet them. They look at them as if they are dirt. They won't look them in the eye and they blame them for their condition. Hey, listen, to be honest, there are some individuals who are in that condition because of decisions they've made. I understand that. I grant you that there are some who caused their condition and some who were being told to do certain things and they refused to do it and then they ended where they are. There are some like that. I get it. There's no doubt about that. There are some individuals who get caught up with drugs. And some of them have come out of prison and can't find work. But those people who are down on their luck, sometimes they make the best employees. They make the best human beings. I know people who have nothing, and then some of these TikTokers will come to them and ask them for something that so-called regular folks will not even bother to do. They will share a little pizza or a little sandwich, whatever they have. They don't mind sharing. Some of those individuals understand what it means to be human, when some of us who think that we've made it don't understand what it means to share our humanity with another person who is down on their luck, just praying for things to change. And of course, some of us have leaders in many countries who forget why they were elected to office in the first place. These individuals, they don't see the masses who are hungry. They believe in stuffing their pockets with money and people's money. And somehow they go to their fancy churches, places of worship, in their fancy clothing and fancy cars. And then they sit there and praise their fancy God. Because I tell you the truth, I don't believe that they are praying to any God that has love for humanity. There are some individuals that need to learn. I know personally the pain of not having. I watched my parents not have anything to feed us. Then my mother going into the bushes to get whatever she can to feed her children. Or my father walking with no shoes for long hours, or riding a rickety bicycle. I've shared this before, just to get a yam or a piece of yam or something to feed the family. Oh, I've seen poverty. I've known poverty where I had to sit and beg Red Cross with no clothing on, just a little strip of clothing, begging for little mussels, the slobs that they feed you. At that time, you really don't care if it's slobs, if you just feed yourself. I've seen poverty. I've known it. And so one thing I never do, and I'm not a saint by a long shot, that's not the point I'm making, but I have seen the pain of hunger, what hunger does to the stomach, to the mind. I've seen that. So I know when I see an individual in the street like that, it hurts my soul. I wish I had the money to give as much as I can. But at least at the minimum, if I don't have anything, I'll look at them and say hello and wish them well, or even strike up a conversation. And you know, it's so interesting how some individuals will be so amazed that you're talking to them because they've lost their humanity, their dignity. They're amazed that somebody's talking to them. That's sad. That's a sad commentary about us who are more fortunate or who have been more fortunate. But as I said earlier, no condition is permanent. Not whatsoever. No condition is permanent. Today is somebody else. Tomorrow it could be you. Always pray that it's never you. But the one way that you can avoid becoming one of those homeless individuals certainly is to do the right thing. Keep a job. But also, I'm telling you, if you don't believe this, know it. Be kind. Kindness has a way of bringing good stuff your way. Be kind to people. You may think that you're much better than these people, that these people don't matter, that they don't downtrodden don't matter, or their needs are not your concern. And they do everything, you do everything within your power to keep them down. Particularly our wealthy politicians everywhere in the world. Any society where politicians look down on the poor and pile money so that they have it and nobody else has. Karma is something. Excuse me, please. Karma is truly something. You just never know. My only consolation when I see people who do help their fellow human beings is that they understand that their condition may not be permanent. That the same people that they look down on as they are climbing may very well be the same people they will see on their way down. I am not wishing no ill on nobody. I'm not. But I'm just letting it be known that the same people that you look down on as you are climbing may well be the people that you may come back to and ask for help. A poor man is buried 6 feet under, as do a rich man. I don't care if your grave is laden with marble, you're still down there. If the poor man is buried 6 feet and no fancy anything, same thing. You may have a fancy gravesite or fences that may separate you from where the poor have been laid to rest. Still the same destination. I know this sounds morbid, but it is the truth. I personally had an opportunity to see man's cruelty to his fellow man up front and center. But before I tell you about that situation, which really, really bothered me, I just want to share um, a little information about OMSI. Let's tell you how you can join us. I hope that some of you will plan to join. And I'm so excited about what's going on with OMSI because there are lots of people registering. And that just means that what we're doing is people are finding what we're doing very, very important. And they are joining. I am so excited about that. So let me just play this video welcoming you to possibly join OMSI. Here we go.
Greetings. Are you passionate about the elevation and empowerment of women in society? Are you eager to help the way women are treated in different parts of the world? Do you want to help provide underprivileged women the tools they need to thrive and assert their financial independence and safety? Do you envision a world with more female leaders? Then sign up to be a member of the African Women Mobilization Commission.
Yes, yes, yes. Join us, omsiglobal.org. Join us, and we're just doing some really fun things. I'm excited about it. But most importantly, today, what we're talking about is helping individuals that are less fortunate than we are. You know, I had an experience a few days ago. Well, actually, it was last week, where I was with my grandsons. We went to Walmart. Walmart is just down the street from me, so we paid a visit now and then. And there I saw, well, we had finished shopping and we were heading towards our car. And there was a woman in a white vehicle. It seemed it was a Jeep. It was like a Jeep. And she had a little girl in front of the car with her. So she pulls up and asked me if I could offer her some help because she and her daughter had been living in the vehicle, and she was tired, she was exhausted, she needed a bath, she needed to find a hotel where she could spend the night and just live like a human being. She says there was no air conditioning in her car and that it was extremely hot. And sometimes when she goes to some of these establishments, they know that she's homeless and they chase her away. And the little girl is becoming a little bit too whiny and just of course, you can imagine, being hot and not having anything to eat. That's a terrible combination. Well, I'm certainly no saint by any means, but at that moment, I thought about how it would be to live in a car with my grandsons with no air conditioning or heat for that matter, no opportunity to bathe and no food to eat. That woman just spoke to my heart. And I didn't have much money on me, but I just knew at that moment this was not going to be a woman that I was going to just walk away and not help with anything. But it was interesting. When I saw her plight, I spiritually felt a need to be a part of her journey in a positive way. I just felt that need to be a part of it. I don't know her, and I didn't have to know her. She had her hands clasped as in prayer, and just the look on her face made me know I could not walk away. I didn't have much cash on me. All I had was a $5 note. Would that help? I asked her. She says, yes, ma'am. That will help tremendously. But interestingly, a gentleman in a car to the right of me shook his head, emphatically shaking his head and telling me verbally so she could hear it that I shouldn't give her anything. She's always going around looking for people to give her money. I looked at him. First of all, it's not your business what I plan to do. If that is your excuse because she's always doing it, so what? All you could do is say no to her. But to say it so that she could hear it, first of all, I thought that was so hurtful and unnecessary. I have to admit, initially I thought, okay, maybe he was trying to tell me that maybe she was dangerous. So I carefully looked around to see if there was somebody else that could attack me as I'm trying to do something for this woman. I figured maybe it was a ploy. But what he was saying that, oh, she does this all the time. She's always going around looking for money. That's what then convinced me that I'm going to help this woman. He made sure to remind me that it was a white woman and I should give generously to my own, because these people don't see us either, that I was wasting my money. I stopped speaking to him. I gave the $5 to the woman and she drove away. As I was putting my groceries in my car, he came out of his own car and he asked me, "Didn't you hear what I said to you?" And I turned to him. I said, "Sir, I heard you. I heard your cruelty. You didn't have to say that for this woman to hear. That's racism anyway. I've seen plenty of people of different races helping each other, black, white, purple, green, and otherwise. People help each other in spite of race." I said to him, this is not the time for me to focus on the race of anybody who is in dire straits. She's certainly not doing well. Whether she's faking it or not, it is not what my God wants me to spend time thinking of. At that moment, I saw the humanity of a woman with a child. She was a mother, and whether she was faking or not was on her, not me. And begging is her job. If that's how she's paying her bills, if that's how she's feeding her child, that may well be her job. Begging is her job. She wasn't stealing from anyone. And I had the opportunity to say yes or no to her, as did the gentleman. I just chose to be kind without the burden of race to intervene with me doing something good. See, the reason why we don't have peace in this world is because we are consumed by our differences. There are times that those things are important, but plenty of times it's not. There are times and places for that. I have been on the receiving end of racism as a Black woman. I know that. I've seen it in action in many ways, more ways than I can care to recount. But at that moment, it wasn't my race that was in trouble. It wasn't me in trouble as a Black woman. At that moment, it was her, a white woman, a woman with a child, a human being. I have no reason whatsoever to doubt that she needed that help. And that's what was important. It could have been anybody at that moment. And if I couldn't find space in my heart to put aside racist thoughts, then I don't deserve the mercies of the divine. People are people. In circumstances, more circumstances than we admit, race does not matter. The downtrodden come in all colors. It could have been a Black woman. It could have been an Asian woman. It could have been a Latino. It could have been anybody. But at that moment, it was a human being in need of help. For this man to leave his car to come and make that statement was just appalling to me. There are some people who genuinely really need human touch, people to see their humanity. Afrongi, I see you. Do you see me? Do you see my pain? If you want goodness to continue to flow to you, take the time to see the person still waiting for their turn. Even a simple hello will go a long way. What you do for your fellow human being comes back to you 9 times more than you even expect. So let us get out of this whole thing of it is their fault that the way they are. If you cannot help, okay, but don't discourage those who try to help. And don't make it a habit to put people down because they are not where you are. This is Dr. Uwa Onyoha Simere, and I hope that you learned something from this short tomato. I wish you well, and I hope that you never have to be on the receiving end of man's inhumanity to his fellow man. Share this video as far as you can. You may change somebody's mind about what it means to be a good human being. Stay safe, keep an open mind, and learn something soon. Even though you may know a whole lot of things, it never hurts to learn something more, to learn something new. So I am going to bid you a good day. And again, if you care to know a little bit more about OMSI, then go visit us at omsiglobal.org. Again, it's omsiglobal.org. Go there, learn as much as you possibly can about us, and join us as many people are doing right now. Thank you all so much for joining me today. And I bid you, as I said earlier, a good day. Make it a wonderful day. And if you see a person in need, please don't walk past them. Give them what you can. And if you can, just a simple hello or that eye contact, that little thing that says, I see you, you're human, and I am human as well as you are. Dignity goes a long way for those who really need a little bit of help. Thank you so much. I hope you'll have a good day. Bye-bye.